guys, welcome to 2 to 1. I'm Carrie B.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Sunny. We can start this off with, we're going to introduce ourselves one by one. This is our first time doing it. It's experimental. We're just a group of friends just trying to enjoy ourselves, talk about controversial topics, things that are going on in our lives, things that are happening in recent popular news, and, just give our opinions and feedback on it. That's pretty much what we're doing. Uh, First off, I want to say that, you know, I'm Sunny. My interests are video games, anime, my kid, and just tech in general. I love tech, so I'll probably be talking about those things the most. And, that's pretty much it about me when it comes to what's going to be happening in this podcast from my perspective. I'm going to be the most confrontational one here. Not in a snarky way, but I like debates. I like to have witty conversations, and you'll see as we continue this podcast that we're going to invite people on and we're going to ask them their opinions of how they feel about certain topics and things that are going on in the world today. But that's pretty much it for me. Who else wants to take it from there?
Me. Okay, you guys.
Hi.
Hey,
Really?
I'm so
I just
sorry.
need something,
Go ahead.
girl. But it's
Go,
okay.
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You wanna go or you want me to go?
Go
All
ahead.
right.
I'll go
My name
last.
is Rachel O. My name is Rachel O. And I just turned 23. My favorite color is green, and I'm also in Brooklyn College. So college is life. I'm going to be talking about relationships or anime or anything scientific. I'm also good with religion. So if you guys have any questions about that, just let me know.
Take it away, Carrie.
Hey, you guys. Okay, I'm Carrie B. I'm in my last semester of school. Yes. Okay, my major is criminal justice. Me personally, I'm going to be talking a lot about dating as a single mom and also about celebrities because, who doesn't like to talk about celebrities? I'm also going to be talking about stuff that's going on in my life and, just talking it up with, my friends. My favorite color is rose gold, and I'm a Sagittarius, and I'm the youngest one on here. Just had to let y'all know.
Okay. All right. So, as of today, our main topic of today is relationships. Oh, and before we even get into that, this is going to be a podcast that we're going to try to work in every week or every other week. So, if you are listening and you're eventually become an avid listener of us, we'll be posting more about our schedule as time goes on and we continue these podcasts. But as of today, our topic is relationships. It's very generic. It's something that everybody talks about. It's something that you're talking about with your friends, your family. You see it all over the internet, popular relationship debates and things along the lines of that. So we're just going to hit a few and we're going to talk about a few of our own personal questions and thoughts that we have on them as well. And then we're just going to end up wrapping it up on just some more personal notes. I would like to say because I know that the ladies on this podcast have some personal things to say about relationships because we've all been in one and we all have questions that never got answered. And as
Hmm.
me being the only guy, we're going to do a fun little rapid fire round where I try to answer and not necessarily defend as many of the habits that men do
Hmm.
in their relationships. So, where do you guys want to start off with? I was able to pull up a couple interesting questions about
Ooh.
relationships, but if you guys have anything you want to start off with right now, we can definitely
Ooh.
do that.
I do. I want to talk about like how dating is as a single parent. I feel like that shit is hard. Like seriously, like me as a single mom, when it comes to dating, it's hard for me because I don't know how I want to like bring my child into the relationship. Like when do I start? Like I don't want to start too early. Be like, oh yeah, so by the way, this is my daughter Sky, and boom. I try to like feel the person out first, and then if me not working, then it's like no purpose of introducing them to my child. But as soon as people hear me say, "Oh yeah, I'm a single mom," they automatically think that I'm still messing with my baby father, or we just not rocking at the moment, and I'm just gonna go back to them. Then it's like I gotta explain, he's a deadbeat, so you don't have to worry about that. And people automatically think it's baby daddy drama. And I'm just like, why stigmatize females that have children and claim and think that we have baby daddy drama? We are all not the same. So that's my thing. Dating for me is like really hard. And then they also always want to come over. And I'm like, no, I'm not comfortable with everybody being around my child. So that's a no. So that's what I wanted to say about
I feel
that.
like the dating game has changed, honestly.
Yes.
Everybody's going online and stuff, going on apps and everything, and it's getting kind of out of control because, like, we still got, like, some secret, creepy cyber bullies out there. Like, they're just there for the entertainment.
I mean,
I prefer the old-fashioned way.
yeah, because I mean, there's good. There's pros and cons to the way that dating is set now in today's society, and in this generation. It's just the fact that it's simpler. More people are becoming more antisocial. Most people don't want to deal connection. Most people are behind a phone. So the best way to
Mm-hmm.
get people to meet other people is through an app, through your phone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a lot of companies are pushing nowadays. So when it comes to that old fashioned, going to parties and hanging out with people, actually, as a very interesting note, I was watching the new season of Big Mouth. I don't know how many of you guys are fans of Big Mouth, but they actually had an episode referencing how people are so absorbed in their phones that they lack or don't crave human interactions. They just
Mm-hmm.
rather sit behind their phone all days and, you know, text, flirt, do all that through a phone. But when it comes time to be
Yeah.
in physical company with other people, it's just a nightmare because all they think about is their phone, or all they're on is their phone. So, you know, with that being said, the good parts of it is that, like I said, it becomes easier to meet people. Comes It's easier to talk to people because there's that sense of anonymity. Yeah, you are what you post online, and that's what most people are attracted to, that image that you present
Mm-hmm.
yourself with
Yes.
online. And then when it comes to actually meeting that person, they may not meet the expectations that they show
Mm.
on their Instagram profile or on their Facebook.
I,
But there
I
are but I have heard a few stories about how, the internet has absolutely changed people's lives. Like,
mm-hmm.
just a simple fact, there was a story that I read. A guy married his wife from an Uber share ride. It
Yes, I heard about
What?
that.
Yeah, it actually
Mm-hmm.
uh let me see if I could pull this up right now. While I'm doing that, you guys can continue the topic.
I completely agree with you because I'm gonna be honest. When I take pictures, I've used a whole bunch of filters sometimes because sometimes females, I know we do not
Mm.
be feeling like we look presentable. So when we take that picture on Snapchat and we see them filtered, oh yes, we're gonna use them. And then it's like when I post them, guys, they like fall in love with like the image. And I just be wanting to be like, okay, I don't always look like this. And then when they be like,
Yeah, it's
oh,
just
let's video chat. Right. They be like, let's video chat. And I'd be like, oh, I'm not looking presentable. It's like I'm scared they're gonna see the real me and be like, oh, you don't look like your picture. I mean, I'm not that far off from my picture, but it's like them filters be making you look glamorous and shit. But
mm-hmm.
I completely agree with you. Like I feel like internet has actually changed us, and people cannot stay off their phone. And I'm gonna be, and I'm gonna say I'm like one of them. You know, I can't get off my phone for nothing. Unless it's my child, I'm on my phone.
I
Right.
think it's worse for the kids right now. I've seen a
Yes.
5-year-old with an iPhone. I'm looking at the parent like, what?
What?
Your child does not need an iPhone at this age. All it's going to do is sit there and make their brain less, more absorbent of information.
It's a
I was
distraction tool. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And
see. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna jump back to the topic that we were talking about. I did actually
Mm.
find it. It was cited on well, it was cited on peoples.com. It's an article that was posted April 19th about this couple, O'Toole. You know, they were in Kansas City, Kansas. They got an Uber. You know, they did an Uber share, and then they just started talking, and then they dated for a week, and then after that, the woman was like, you know, she told her mom, "Hey, I think I found my husband," and ever since then, you know, they've been pretty inseparable. And even the husband was like,
Wow.
"It's crazy how, you know, just a ride turned into a 4 or 5 hour date, and then, you know, they ended up just being together, and they look like a happy couple." You know, they posted it on their on their Instagram, and actually, the woman was the driver. Actually,
What?
yeah, they just
Okay.
started talking. So that just goes to show, you know, don't ever knock out the internet for being completely as like a
Mm-hmm.
mind draining
Yeah,
tool. There's actually some great things that can come from it, you know. So that was something that I just wanted to point out
that's
that's really
interesting.
cool. Yeah.
I feel like you never know when you're going to meet the one. It can be, you could be walking down the street and somebody just bump you with a cup of coffee and then y'all start talking. The next thing you know, y'all been married for like 20 years. Like, you just never know. And I feel like everybody is gonna like, there's somebody out there for everybody. And it's just a matter of when. Like, you never know when.
Mhm.
Well, I just want to know whoever my person is that I'm supposed to meet, please come soon. That's all I'm saying. Please come soon.
Oh gosh. All right. So rolling into the next question that we have, well, the topic or question, is how long should you wait before moving in with your significant other? Now,
Ooh.
I've heard a lot of there's a lot of ways that I've heard this topic talked about. Some say wait until marriage. Some
Mm,
say to test the waters, see what they're like as a person, how they treat their home is how, you know, they're going to treat you, you know, or they'll
mm,
have some type of representation of how they treat you. So if they live like a slob, you know, that means they don't take care of themselves. And then when it comes to personal hygiene, you know, that's probably a mess. There's no guarantee of that. And then also you able to being around that person for long periods of time, you're actually able to see them at their worst, see them at their best,
mm-hmm,
and you know, it's really a eye opening decision. And then again, others just like, no, you should never do that. Expenses, you know, you should never share expenses with somebody that isn't your spouse, and things along the lines of that. So I wanted to get your guys' opinions on that.
um, I feel like you should move in with a person before you get married. The only reason I'm saying this is because let's say you guys, start dating, you had a relationship, he proposed, y'all get engaged, then y'all get married. And then y'all just move in with each other. And then you see how he is at home. He has clothes all over the place, and you like to keep your stuff clean. And then y'all argue, and then y'all fight all the time, and then boom, y'all get divorced. I feel like you should move in with the person, like you said. You get to see them at their best and their worst. And I feel like there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with moving in with your significant other. But the timing, though, that's the thing. I feel like
Mhm.
after probably, I want to say 6 months. That's just me. I feel like you should give yourself time to actually get to know the person first. And then, when things are really getting serious, then you can move in with them.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, a lot can happen in 6 months. You
Yeah.
never really know. I also feel like you should move in early because like seeing that person and the way that they live definitely is a way to see how they're gonna treat you.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it's like if they don't respect themselves, how do you expect them to respect you
Hmm.
in that way?
I agree. But even then, you got people that that how can I explain it? Just to tie into all of that. Oh man, I lost my point. Oh Jesus, I really wasn't expecting to lose it. I had a good point. You have to give me a moment to get back to it. I was just you guys gotta continue. Let me see.
I've never moved in with a guy before, so I'm like kind of wondering how that shit is gonna work out.
Yeah.
And then on top of that,
Yeah,
it's like I have my child too, so it's like, uh, that's why I feel like I don't want to move in with a guy. I want my own. So maybe he's gonna have to come and move in with us, but I don't want to move in with him. It's just I don't want to take my child out of her space to move it to somebody else's space. So I'd rather the person move in with us than, you know.
I mean, but then who says that it has to be his space? Why can't you guys go half and half on a place? You know,
exactly.
True, true. Now see that would be good. If we could go half and half, yeah. But if he want me to move in with my child to, his space, because it's really his space because, he's paying the bills at that place. That's his place. But if we go half and half, I have no problem with that.
hmm okay, that is no problem because there are a lot of times it was actually another story. Again, it was on social media. It was everywhere. I believe even the shade room talked about it. There was a guy. He was supposedly paying rent for this place that they had, and
Mhm.
then the girlfriend at the time they came across the I believe it was the deed to the house, and come to find out the guy owned it. So
What?
all the money she was paying for about 2 or 3 years, everybody was asking what happened to that money. You know, because what could he have possibly been doing with it? And it's that kind of stuff, that type of trust, that can be a little bit misleading because I promise you that she didn't know that he had
Mhm.
already owned the house that they were living in. He could have what could he have possibly been using that money for? That's money that they could have been using
Yes.
together. And even
Yes.
then, I still can't find the conclusion to
I
that
have a theory.
situation. What do
What
you
if
think,
he used
Catherine?
that money for his side chick? Like, what if he had a side chick, right? And he just like, okay, she's gonna spend this money for this house I already own. I'm gonna get this shit to my side piece. And
See, that's a different
men,
story.
honestly, men are dogs. I'm telling you, some men are dogs. So that would be
Whoa,
interesting.
whoa,
Some,
Yeah,
whoa,
yeah.
whoa!
I'm sorry.
Now we're getting into an age-old debate of how men are dogs, but then we get into the topic of men are dogs, but they're loyal as fuck if you treat them right. You know, it's all
Some.
about it's all
True.
about how they're treated. Like as a man, like we want to feel. Well, I'm not gonna talk for the small low down. The people, the men, the boys that just go around doing horrible things to females. But as for like men, you know, as long as they're acknowledged in their efforts as to be a provider, they'll be loyal as hell in just almost any situation. There are a lot of
Yeah.
people, a lot of guys that I know that are happily married, and they're doing the right thing as men. And then I know people that have like five baby mothers, and they're
Mm.
just hanging around the streets. So it really does
Mhm.
depend on their morals and their values, and also it comes from where you're finding your partners at. you know if you're saying that all men are dogs, and it's that means your track record of the men that you meet
Oh,
probably aren't outside of what you're used to. It's something that's biologically ingrained into you based on how you're raised and everything that's happening in your life. You get used to that, so when you get older, you try to find you know an opposite that fits that mold of what you're used to. So if you grew up with drama, you're most likely going to date somebody that has a lot of drama or a lot of baggage. Or
mm,
even then, sometimes opposite do attract. If you've been quiet your whole
yeah.
life, you haven't been bothered by anything, you date this one person, it turns out they're batshit crazy. It's just how it works sometimes. It's all about finding that balance and acknowledging your own patterns,
Yeah.
and then making that difference, making that change in your choice and in your actions. So,
I'm
See, I
actually
agree. And
starting to hear about people. Oh, I'm sorry.
no, I was just saying I agree.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just about to say that I'm starting to hear that people actually prefer living separate because it gives them more space and it doesn't actually kind of like mess up that relationship, because I'm starting to hear that people don't like living together for some reason. Like it just
Yeah.
gets, I don't know, boring after a while, or maybe like they just cannot stand each other's way of living, or I'm trying to understand that. I don't get it. I thought the whole point was to get with that person and just to like be with them forever, and then all of a sudden you need
Um,
space. I mean, space is cool, but how much space are we talking?
I do want to say something about that. Yeah, after a while living with people, it does get boring. I mean, I live with a bunch of females, my mom, my grandma, and my daughter. So it's a lot of shit going on. Like we need some male testosterone up in here. Like,
And that leads into an interesting part of that. There are actually a few celebrities that that are married but live
hmm
separately. They actually
yep.
posted a list on well, it's a Australian website, but like couples like Kim and Kanye, they actually do live in two separate parts of the house. They own a giant mansion, but they live and sleep in two separate parts, which is I find to be crazy.
Stupid.
Another one is Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. I knew this ever
hmm
since
Yep.
what was the movie, the original movie that they released that they had?
Miss, Mr. and
Mr.
Mrs. Smith.
Lighthouse?
Yep, Mr. and
Mr. and
Mrs.
Mrs.
Smith.
Smith.
Yeah, ever since then,
hmm
and then they had their relationship. They've always lived and dated. They did everything separate, which was I always found to be interesting when it came to them. So
Ooh.
living separate, as a couple, is not
Mm-mm.
that bad. Some people are actually able to make it work, and that
Mm-mm.
also ties into long distance relationships as well.
Mm-mm.
And that leads in that can roll us into our next question is would you ever date long distance?
No, no, no. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I just had to
man.
say no. Listen, this is why.
I
Okay, this is
tried
why I
that.
say no. Long distance relationship, I feel like could not work. Some people it could, but for some it can't. Because think about it. Let's say you live in New York City and your man lives in Cali. Now, he lives in Cali, you live in New York. Then you meet this guy. You guys are like friends or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then you guys start to feel for each other. Then how does that work when you have a boyfriend in Cali? Do you break up with your boyfriend to be with this guy who's in New York with you? Or do you just like completely cut that guy off and try to make it work with your boyfriend in Cali?
I mean, that leads into more of a commitment type of thing. If you're talking consistently, if everything is right and the love is there, you find the time. That's what I've learned. With
That's
me,
a lot of time you gotta find.
because with me serving and then me having my relationships while I was in service, it was always about finding that time. Whenever I had leave, I was back with my girlfriend at the time.
Yeah.
We hung out, we did everything, and then when it was time for me to go back, I went back and we talked every day. We video chatted. It
But
was just like it's
I
just
feel
that
like that's different.
it is because while you're
You're
away, the
working.
goal is to build that physical, build up the tension for that physical intimacy. So as we're separate, we're talking, we're in love, we're having good feelings, and then as you plan that time to, hey, I'm gonna come see you, it's just building all that tension is building
Mm,
up, and when you finally meet each other, it makes the time that you have together more special. It makes it more fun.
listen, absence makes the heart grow
Mm.
fonder. That shit is bullshit. I'm sorry. Listen, if we dated, you gotta be in the same state. I'm sorry. I don't care if I live in New York and you live in Jersey, and that's like what? How? That's not even that much far distance. Still, you gotta live in the five boroughs. I'm sorry. I can't date somebody that's out of state. Cause it's like me personally, I like my quality time. So if you here, yeah, we got that time. Even though you're in Jersey, you could still come over here, whatever. But I just like the same person to be where I'm at. I can't. I'm not saying I would cheat. I wouldn't do that. I'm not a cheater. But I prefer the person to live like in the same area as me.
That's fair. Yeah, I wouldn't knock that. because not everybody can do long distance relationships. That's fine. But as long as
Oh,
you've at least
having
tried it,
technical difficulties.
that's not for you. Who's having technical difficulties?
Rachel.
Is everything okay? Are you lagging? What's going on?
Rachel?
Yeah,
Oh,
I think she kind of
yeah.
zoned out on us for a quick second.
Okay.
Let's see if we can get her. Is she still
Sorry,
on?
I'm having technical difficulties.
Oh, it's okay. What's going on? Like,
Are you
It's a
lagging?
poor connection on my end.
Ah,
oh,
yeah. Oh,
okay.
she's lagging. I mean, that's fine if you can pick it back up. That's completely fine. If it continues, I guess we'll just kind of fall into the rapid fire round and then kind of end it on our closing, topic for this podcast, and then we'll probably cut it from there. Because we don't want this to last throughout the entire
Yeah.
second half of the show. So
Right.
so if
Yeah.
Rachel, if you can hear me, that's fine. So if we're gonna go into the rapid fire, here's how we're gonna play it. The thing is, seeing as how it's 2-1, both Rachel and Carrie are gonna ask me questions. They're gonna take turns one after the other asking me questions about just simple weird behaviors that men do in relationships. Now, they
Ooh.
don't all have to be bad behaviors and they don't all have to be good. It's just finding that
Mhm.
balance, and then we'll answer from there. We'll see how that goes. All right? So, the rapid fire is going to last about 5 minutes, probably less than that, and then we'll jump right into our last debate topic, okay?
All right.
And so with that, you
Okay.
guys can fire
Ooh, I
away.
got this. My question, right?
Hmm.
Now we're going to talk about my favorite topic, which is, of course, sex. Now, guys, well, Sunny, why do you,
Oh, address it to the guys because I'm answering. I'm answering in.
okay, when you guys are having sex, right? Why do you guys feel the need to tell a girl, oh, no, like y'all freaky talk is, oh, baby, you want to get on top? Like, nigga, like, first of all, I am, stop laughing, Rachel. Listen, I am a
Sorry.
girl of a particular side. Don't be asking me to get on top. Like, I just don't understand. Like, my thing is like, and then when I tell them, oh, I'll be like, oh, I'll be like, yeah, okay, whatever. Or like, I don't want to kill you. And they be like, I don't mind, baby. I'm like, what? Like, what kind of craziness is that? Like, I'm sorry. It's just, my question is like, why do y'all act like that? Like, say,
I
oh,
mean,
I don't
so
mind.
so if you're talking about just getting on top, we love that shit. I know that girls doing cowgirl is a controversial position. Some females embrace it. Someone, they're not comfortable with themselves. Maybe they feel like their boobs jiggle too much or whatever the purpose may be. It's a matter of comfortability. We ask that because it stops us from doing all the work. I'm gonna be real with you. We're spending like some guys are spending majority of the time just trying to put in all that work, getting in the angles, make sure they hitting it right. And then when they get tired, they're like, okay, I need you to get on top. I need time to just catch my breath. So when we say that, some are doing it because they're genuinely tired. Others do it because they genuinely love to see their significant other in that position. It's a sexy little view.
Rachel,
Mm. I mean, I don't...
Question.
Okay, sorry. I thought I was still talking about.
Nope. Rapid
Anyway,
fire. Rapid fire.
okay. So, why do men feel the need to sit there and defend female friends who are
mm,
breaking the boundaries of a relationship?
Uh,
mm,
ooh. That could be a multitudes of things. For certain guys, it could be, that person has been in their life for a long period of time. They're a childhood friend. They're used to that type of topic. They're used to that type of conversation that they have with that person. Other guys, that could be plan B. Some
Mhm.
like they don't like to keep all their eggs in one basket. Females have their own way of doing it too, but for guys, we're not smart enough to hide that type of conversation. So it gets to a point where it does go over, it gets seen, and then we're just like, no, like I said, it's either they're a good friend or, that's plan B. That's usually either or. You can't really specify which one. It all depends on the person, how long that person's
Mhm.
been in his life, and so on and so forth.
I have a question.
Go.
It's a question, but it's kind of advice. It's an advice question. Okay, so I currently have feelings for this guy. I'm not gonna say his name, and he just got a relationship. And before he was in a relationship, he was another one. But me and him was talking after his first relationship and this one, and he's always flirting with me. And he recently sent me a dick pic,
Okay.
and I'm trying to figure out like, does he really like? Cause he be saying stuff like, "Oh, I thought we was together. I thought you was my baby." And but he's always going ghost on me. Like he'll go ghost for like a couple of days, and then he'll come back. And I'm just telling him like I don't deal with guys that's not inconsistent. They're not consistent. So I'm trying to figure out if I really want to deal with him or if I should just let him go. Like, what is his deal?
It's not. In my opinion, your best bet would be to just talk to him about it. Tell him, hey, you already told him you don't like guys that are inconsistent. Saying, hey, if you want to be with me, you want to work this out. I need you to put in the work. And if they're not willing to put in that said work, then it's time to cut your losses. There's no point in trying to have something that he's not even trying to put effort into.
Yeah.
It's not even worth the time. Rachel.
Um, yeah, mine is kind of adviseful as well. How do I keep the flame going if I'm in a celibate relationship?
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Oh,
because I'm currently in a celibate relationship, and it's just to like better ourselves in a department where we can like communicate on a good level and not have to use, sex as a way to like amplify the relationship. So I'm just wondering, how can I keep the flame going?
so that's an interesting question.
It is, right?
It's about you know really being in tune with each other. Really knowing what makes each other happy, what makes each other, you know, be themselves, and then putting forth that effort into showing them that you care about those things. So if they mention something, that they like to do, or they have ideas of what they want to do, you know, embrace those ideas, hear them out and actually try them. So if they say that, hey, I've always wanted to start drawing, pick a day, go on a date, go to an art and craft store and just buy some paint, a canvas, just paint together, you know, just humor the
Okay.
small things, because we all have big goals, aspirations, and things we want to do in life. But, there's always those mini day by day things that really matter the most. Like if you're living together, just taking a day for them to not have any responsibilities, except if they have to go to work. You literally just do everything around the house, or they're watching their favorite anime. Take that time, watch it with them. You know, just it's really about spending time with that person or that significant other in their personal interests, because it shows that you care, and it shows that you can bond without sex being the main component of the relationship. Because I have personally been in relationships where all it was about was sex,
Me
and we
too.
never shared anything outside of that. I guess we were
Mhm.
both fine with it at first, but then it ended up with the both of us feeling unsatisfied, and
Hmm.
she ended up cheating. So
Oof.
Yeah.
it is what it is, but the goal is to build that bond outside of sex and just humoring the small things, and that'll allow the relationship to grow more. Right.
Um,
Two more. Carrie.
okay, so my question is basically kind of like what you just said about I always, not always, most of my relationships was like about based off of sex. So kind of answered the question. But my other question is I
Hmm.
have these friends, right? And I can tell that they like each other. And I was trying to find a way to like get them to actually give each other a chance and actually start dating. How do I do that?
Oh, you cheeky bastard. Shoot. Uh, uh, that's a toughie. Um, if they see it, it's something that exists. It's not like, boy likes girl and girl likes boy, but nobody's communicating anything. If there's some type of connection there, whether it's through normal natural interests of life, whether it's TV shows or whatever, and and they're spending a decent amount of time together, there should be no reason why something shouldn't happen. But everybody has their own personal issues,
Yeah.
everybody has their own things, everybody feels insecure, or somebody feels not comfortable about something. We all have that personal stage in their life where they feel like not everything is right, so they kind of want to have certain people and certain dynamics to help support who they are as they're going through, whether it be tough times or whatever. But outside from that, if the flow is right, there should be no reason for that to be interrupted unless somebody is deliberately saying no. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about them taking it at their own pace. I mean, outside influence is great, but nobody wants to be told who they should be dating or who they should be with, because then that just
Mm-hmm.
leads to resentment, you know. So just it's about letting things happen naturally, and if they happen naturally, good on them. They'll eventually find their way, but outside of that, there should be no pressure to be like you should be dating them or you should marry them because I can't count how many times my mom told me who I should and shouldn't be dating, and I always ended up dating the people she told me not to date.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just
Hmm.
about just letting things happen, letting the cards fall where they may, and if it works out, it works out. And then
Okay, interesting.
last question, Rachel.
Okay. Do you think lying saves a relationship or destroys it?
Ooh,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
it it can in minute things. If you're lying about money because you're saving up to buy her a gift for her birthday or Christmas or whatever, that's perfectly fine. If you're lying about personal expenses that you guys are sharing, especially and if that person and the other person ends up finding out about it, that's bad because you
Yeah.
can you can be in bigger debt than what your significant other or maybe thinking you are, or you can have more money than your significant other thinks you have, and that could be a big issue, like the instance with the housing that we talked about earlier. Him not telling her that he owned that house was a big problem, at least to me it is, you know but when it comes to other people, you should never lie about other people, whether they're
Hmm.
friends, family, exes.
Yep.
It's all about transparency. And as much as
Mm-hmm.
it sucks, excuse me, the truth will set you free, but not everybody can handle the truth. That's the biggest thing. I've learned with my experiences in relationships that being blunt, not a lot of people can handle that. Most people will take that as you insulting them, you berating them, you
Yep.
taking their thoughts and opinions or however they feel about the situation for granted by just laying down the truth when
Mm-hmm.
it's not about who's right or wrong. It's about, just being honest. when you're being honest, I don't feel like there's a right or a wrong. You know,
Mhm.
because if I was to cheat, I'm just gonna say, hey, I'm sorry, I cheated. You can ask me a million and one times why, and I can give you a million and one answers, but that doesn't change the fact that I still did what I did. You know,
Yep.
Yeah.
so lying overall, don't
It's
do
bad.
it. It's bad. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying just try to be as honest as possible. But if you're trying to, give white little lies, to show appreciation for whoever you're with, then try to surprise them, give them something, a grand gesture, however you want to do it, that's fine. So if I say, hey, we're going to Waffle House and then we drive over to Red Lobster, you know, ain't nothing wrong with that. So,
I'm done. I want me some Red Lobster now. You know, made me hungry.
Yeah.
shit,
Food.
shit, I'm about to eat after this. But yeah, just be honest. So,
Yes.
with
Yeah.
that being said, that was the rapid fire section. If you have any questions after the fact, or if you guys have questions for me after the podcast, just drop them in the comments below. I'll try and answer as best as I can. I'm not no guru or anything, but I kind of have like a uniformed, unbiased opinion about a couple of things. I did throw my opinion in there every now and again, but I try to be as unbiased and level as possible. All right. So with that being said, we're gonna go into the last topic, our last debatable question about
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
relationships. It's more of a personal note for me because I do have a daughter. I am a single parent. We're gonna go there too. The question that's brought up is if you're dating somebody with a child and let's say you're very connected, you're very close to that person, not necessarily close to the child. If you're dating that person, is that child your responsibility as well? We'll take this for example because let's say you're going out to eat, right? And
Mhm.
the person you're dating has a child. And they brought
Mhm.
the child with them. No, it's your first time meeting them, so on and so forth. You go out, you eat, the bill comes. Do you pay for the child, or do you just pay for your significant other? And that
Ooh.
also comes a time where you're dating them, and let's say they need supplies or their child needs clothes. Do you give them money for the clothes? Do you give them that diaper money and all that? How do you feel about taking financial responsibility of a child while dating your significant other?
That's a good question. For me,
Yeah.
because I'm actually a single mom, I see. I try to have a preference, and one of my preferences, I'm like, I don't want to try to date somebody that has a kid, not because of this reason, but because I don't want to have to deal with the baby mama drama. So I know I said in the beginning, why do I stigmatize women? But that's the thing. Like, I don't want to have to deal with that. But now, like, hearing this question, I feel bad. So I think I would pay for the child. Like, I'm dating you, because I would want that for me, If I'm going on a date and, I had to bring my child, whatever, I would want the person to be like, oh, it's okay. I'll pay for her too? So I think I would pay for the child too.
Mm,
I don't
okay.
feel like it's an obligation. I feel like if you're out with somebody and it was just meant to be for you and that person, then yeah, go ahead and just pay for that person. But if the child is there, it would be kind. At least maybe it would be like a one up for you, showing you that you're a respectable person and to like pay for the child and everything. Like, I just feel like it's not your responsibility,
Yeah.
but you should do it.
What about as you're
Listen.
dating them? What if their child needed supplies? Would you give them money so they can get stuff for their child?
That's a little bit too much.
I
That's
feel the
too much
same.
because
That's
you're
that's
you're not you're not obligated to do that. It's not your child. You're not
see,
here to
there's a
support somebody's kids or anything like that. You're here to sit there and have this relationship going, and then
Yeah.
possibly going into that whole family mode eventually in the future.
Here's my thing. I think for one, it needs to be like a little bit clear if you're dating or in a relationship. If I'm in a relationship with you, in that relationship, I'm also in relation with your child. So your child then becomes a part of this relationship. If I'm dating you and I'm just getting to know you, then I don't really feel like I'm obligated to like support your child. I might be nice every once in a while, be like, yeah, here's some money for the kid, or yeah, you could bring your kid on a date, whatever. But if I'm in a relationship with you, there's no problem with that because I know I'm in a relationship with you, and I know you have a kid, and I know that that kid is also going to be a priority with you. So I'm gonna have to bite my pride and just, you know, but if I'm just dating you, don't expect me to like always say, bring the kid, I'll pay for the kid, or yeah, babe, I'll give you some money for your kid. Like, don't always expect that from just dating you. From a relationship, there's no problem with it.
Okay, all right. I mean, for me, I guess I kind of agree with you on that. When it comes to, you just started dating, you're just getting to know each other. That child isn't really your responsibility. I wouldn't feel like that's my responsibility to make sure that your child's okay, especially if we're just talking. We're dating.
Hmm.
But as the relationship grows stronger, we actually get into a relationship. I'm starting to see a future with you. Regardless
Hmm.
of whether you have a kid or not, I'm starting to see a future with you, and this child is a part of it. So yeah, I'm gonna put forth the effort to not only show you, but to show your child, your child that I'm gonna be here for a while, and I care
Hmm.
about you. You know,
Yes.
it's a sense of as things grow, you start to just naturally feel, you
Hmm.
know, like it's the right thing to do. You know,
Yes.
so I completely agree with you on that. Now that actually ties into a small little tidbit. We'll talk about this real quick. What about you have a child, but
Hmm.
and then you decide to date somebody that also has a child. How does that? How would you want
Oh
that
shit.
dynamic to play out? That's another big question that I've been thinking about as well as we were having this entire
Um,
conversation.
That's a lot of work.
here's my thing about that. If I'm dating a person, I would like for the child to be older than my child. My child is 4, so I want somebody's child to be like at least 5 or older. Because I don't know, I just feel like if it's a baby, it's like that's like something I can't do. I can't date a guy who just had a baby. Like you just had a baby, all your time should be towards that baby, not dating somebody, you know?
Hmm.
So when it comes to dating somebody with a child, the first thing I ask is, do you have a child? How old is your child? Are you with the baby mom? What happened with you, the baby mom? I'm asking question after question because I want to know if I'm gonna get myself involved in something crazy as hell, or if this could be all right. I can work with it. So I'd rather for the child to be older than my child first. And then if they're like older than my child, let's say if the child is like 12. Wait, it can't be 12 because I mean that person's old as hell. Okay, let's say the child is like 5 or 6.
Okay.
So if they're 5 or 6, I don't have a problem with that because one, I can look at it as, okay, I can bring my child with your child. Hopefully, your child can like play with my child while we have our little time, whatever. And my child can actually learn from an older child. So I feel like it's okay, and you can bring your child on a date. Bring my child. They can play, talk. And we just, have a big happy family. I wouldn't mind that. So yeah, I'm cool with that. I would like something like that.
Okay, Rachel.
I mean, I'm not really sure because I'm not a single parent,
I
but
know, but
like
just think about it hypothetically. If you were, let's say your child was like 2 or 3.
2 or 3, I think I agree with Carrie. I would like to have somebody who has a child that's older so that I don't have to take care of the responsibility of like having another baby. Like,
Mm,
that's too much. That's
yeah.
too much work.
I mean, for me, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter how old the kid is. whatever. If you're all your ducks are in a row and you're able to properly take care of that child, it doesn't matter to me. If you're well off on your own, you're doing your own thing, and you're able to get a babysitter, you're able to, you know, have somebody come in, you can afford daycare, you're working because as a single parent, you know, whether you're going to college or not, not everybody has,
Mm-hmm.
their family as support. So
Yeah.
so they were, they got daycares and all that. So if you got your child in daycare, you're
Yeah.
doing your thing, you're working,
Mm-hmm.
by all means, it doesn't matter what age it is to me, as long as all your ducks are in a row, you're taking care of your child, you're doing what you got to do to be successful in life. It can be,
Damn.
a 3 month old baby.
Oh.
Send it, because like I said, as long
Um.
as you got your ducks in a row, that's perfectly fine. Because then we can still find time to do our thing while while the baby's in daycare, or they're taking a nap or whatever it may be. As long as we're able to have our relationship, you're able to do your thing, your child's being taken care of and my child's taken care of, what's the problem? you know so I don't really have any general bias towards either or. The only thing I would say is if your child is like ridiculously older than mine's, that's the only thing that would kind of freak me out. Like if they're in the double digits, then I kind of have to, like,
Yeah.
reconsider just a little
Yeah.
bit. But
Yeah.
it's not completely off the table for me. Like I said, it's all about having your priorities straight. Then we can be straight, and then we
You
can be
just.
parallel later on in the bed.
You just.
So, boom.
You just wait. Wait. Oh, okay. You just made my response and Selena's response so harsh. Like
It's
you're like you don't care as long as you got your ducks in a row. And I'm over here like maybe if the child was older, whatever. And now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, damn, I sound so harsh.
It's not
Damn.
about
Yeah.
being. It's not about being harsh. We all have our. It's how you feel. There's nothing wrong with talking about how you feel. Nothing at all. It's just that I come from a more of a, if we can make it work, let's make it work type of dynamic when it comes to just a lot of stuff in my life, because I've been so used to having things the way that I wanted them to be that I never made room for anybody else's way of doing things. So now I'm at a point where it's like, hey, if we can work it out, however we need to, it doesn't have to be perfect, then let's do it. There's nothing wrong with that. So by all means, if you want to retract your opinion, you can do that. There's still a little bit of time left, but
No.
I'm
Mm-mm.
just letting you know there's nothing wrong with you guys' opinion on
I
fire.
said what I said. I said what I
She
said.
said what she said. All right.
I'm still attracting somebody's
And
baby
she,
father, so I'm all good.
All right. All right. So with that, it's been a good hour. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. It's been a great hour.
yeah.
Right.
Uh, the conversation was actually amazing. We had some really good
Right.
topics. And again, if you guys want to give your own opinion about what we've talked about so far, but be sure to leave them down in the comments below. And with that, Rachel is gonna lead the outro. It's been Sunny B. And you guys take it easy.
I'm having technical difficulties. Okay, you guys hear me?
Yes, yes, we
Yes.
can.
Okay. This has been 2 to 1. Thank you for tuning in. Laters.
Bye.